Hello students, in this video we're going to be reviewing the law of cosines worksheet number 10. And remember, the law of cosines takes on two different forms based on whether you're finding a side of a triangle or whether you're finding an angle of a triangle. You know to use the law of cosines if in the entire problem you're given three sides and one angle. That's the key, three sides and one angle. You take what's given to you plus what you have to find and see if that's what you have, three sides and one angle. So for this first problem, triangle SUT, here they give you 1, 2, 3 sides. Here I'm trying to find that side T. So here they're giving us three sides and one angle. So that's why I'm using the law of cosines. And here, since I'm finding side T, I'm going to be using the law of cosines that has sides. So I'm going to be writing for number 1, T squared, because that's what I'm finding. Now if you notice the pattern, you basically have the side you're solving for and then the other two sides on the right-hand side of the equation. So here I'm going to have T squared equals S squared plus U squared minus 2SU times the cosine of angle T. The side that you're trying to find, you always have to match that up with the angle opposite it. So in this case, since I'm finding side T, I'm going to be using angle T. So here I'm going to have T squared equals, now S squared. Well, here's angle S, so the side opposite that is 29. So it's going to be 29 squared plus U squared. So up top is angle U, so side U is 27. So I'm going to have 29 squared plus 27 squared minus 2 times S times U, so minus 2 times 29 times 27 times the cosine of angle T, which they tell you is 63. In order to use this law of cosines, if you're finding a side, you need to know the angle opposite. In this case, I know angle T is 63. Once you have it set up, the law of cosines when you find a side is basically just you now entering the right-hand side of the equation into your calculator. You're basically just going to be typing in exactly what you see. 29 squared plus 27 squared minus 2 times 29 times 27 times the cosine of 63. So here you're going to have T squared is equal to this 859 number. So that's what side T squared is. So now we're going to take the square root of this 859 number to solve for T. So here side T is going to be equal to the nearest tenth, 29.3. So that's how you use the law of cosines to find a missing side of the triangle. The key, though, is to have three sides and one angle given to you in the problem. Problem 2, here they're asking you to find big A, which is angle A. So look what's given to you in the problem. Here you have all three sides, and here you're trying to find an angle. So again, this is going to be an example of the law of cosines because you're given three sides and one angle. You basically take what's given to you and what you need to solve, and if it fits this pattern, three sides and one angle, you use the law of cosines. But now I'm trying to find angle A. So I'm going to use the law of cosines when you're finding an angle. So here I'm going to have the cosine of the angle, which in this case is angle A, that equals, now notice your pattern. You're going to have the other two sides. So here I'm going to have B squared plus C squared. And when you use the law of cosines to find an angle, you use the side opposite only once. So in this case, I'm going to have B squared plus C squared minus A squared, because here, since I'm finding angle A, I'm going to be using side A only once, and I'm going to divide that by 2 times the other two sides. So 2 times b times c. So this is the law of cosines now when I'm finding an angle. So here I'm going to have the cosine of A equals, now I'm going to have b squared. So angle B is down below, so B is going to be 9. So I'm going to have 9 squared plus c squared. Well, angle C is off to the left, so little c is on the right, so that's going to be 6 squared minus A squared. Well, angle A is up top, so side A. So A squared is going to be 14 squared all over 2 times B times C, 2 times 9 times 6. Now, here I'm trying to find an angle, and just like you did with SOHCAHTOA, just like you're doing with the law of sines, anytime you're finding an angle, you're always going to press the second button first and then DMS your answer. So here I'm going to press second and then cosine and then enter in this entire right-hand side on the calculator. So here you press second and cosine. Remember, anytime you're finding an angle, you should see that -1 power, the inverse cosine. You type in exactly what you see. Fraction 9 squared plus 6 squared minus 14 squared all over 2 times 9 times 6. And then now I'm going to DMS my answer. So second and option 4 for DMS, and it looks like to the nearest minute, we look at our seconds, since it's 38, since it's bigger than 30, we're going to kick the minutes up by 1. So here your answer is 137 degrees and 1 minute. So now here are 4 practice questions that I would like you to try to work on. Please pause the video and try to work on these 4 and then see how well you did by then pressing play. Problem number 1, here they're asking you to find little a, so that's the side opposite angle A, and look and see what's given. Here we're given 2 sides and we're asked to find the third side. So here we have 3 sides and here we have 1 angle. So since you have 3 sides and 1 angle, we're going to be using the law of cosines. And here, since you're trying to find side A, we're trying to find lowercase a, we're going to use the law of cosines when you're finding a side. So here we're going to be using a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cosine of a. Remember, the side that you're finding always has to match the angle that you're using. So here we're going to have a squared equals, we're going to have b squared. So angle B is up top, so little b is 12 squared, plus c squared. Well, angle C is off to the right, so side C is going to be 8 squared, minus 2 times 12 times 8 times the cosine of angle A, which they told you was 33 degrees. And since you're finding a side, all we're going to now do is just simply enter the entire right-hand side into our calculator and then take the square root of that answer. So here, when you enter the entire right-hand side, you should have gotten this 46.97 number. And then you're going to take the square root of the previous answer. Remember, how you get to the previous answer on your calculator is the second button and then the negative button. So then it takes the square root of that 46.9 number. So here to the nearest tenth, side A is going to be 6.9. 6.9. Problem 2 also has you finding a side. Here it's asking you to find side N, so that's the side opposite angle N. So look and see what you're given. Here you're given one side, you're asked to find another side, and in the problem they're giving you two angles. So here you really have two sides and two angles. So is the law of cosines going to work? And the answer is no. When you're given two sides and two angles, you want to use the law of sines. Remember, the law of sines, you need to have one matching set of side and angles, which in this case appears to be the m's. Here you have side m, the 37.1, and here you have angle m. So here our matching set are our m's, and then for the law of sines, you need to have one half matching set. And the half matching set is what you're solving for. So in this case, what are you solving for? Here you're solving for little n. So here our half matching set has to be our n's. But there's an issue with that. Here I'm trying to find side n, but it doesn't appear that I have angle n. In order to use the law of sines, you need to have, since I'm trying to find side n, you need to have angle n. The good news is they give you two of the three angles in the triangle. And since you know the sum of the angles is always 180 degrees, I'm going to add up these two angles that I'm given and then subtract it from 180 to get angle n. So here it looks like when I add up the 42 degrees 15 minutes and the 72 degrees 20 minutes, and then I do 180 minus that and I DMS my answer, it looks like angle n is going to be 65 degrees and 25 minutes. So now I have enough information to use the law of sines. I have my matching set, which are my m's, and I have my half matching set, which are the n's. So here I'm going to set this up, and I'm trying to find little n. So I'm going to write little n over the sine of angle n, and that equals now my matching set, little m over the sine of angle m. So here I'm going to have little n, which is what I'm solving for, so that's x, over the sine of angle n, which we found that to be 65 degrees 25 minutes. That equals little m, which is 37.1, over the sine of angle m, and angle m, they told you in the question, was 72 degrees and 20 minutes. So here I'm using the law of sines because the law of cosines didn't work. I didn't have three sides and one angle. So here to use the law of sines, I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to have x times the sine of 72 degrees and 20 minutes. That equals 37.1 times the sine of 65 degrees and 25 minutes. And here to solve for x, I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 72 degrees and 20 minutes. So now on your calculator, you're just going to be entering in this right-hand side. We're finding side n, so we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So all we're going to do is just type this in and then round to the nearest tenth. So here our answer is going to be 35.4. Problem 3, here you are asked to find big B, so angle B. So we look and see what we're given. Here we're given side B, we're given 22. We're given, here's angle A, so we're given side A. And here's angle C, we're given side C. So here we're given three sides and one angle, because we're trying to find angle B. So here we have three sides and one angle. So that means we're using the law of cosines. But here we're going to be finding an angle, so we're going to be using the law of cosines rule where we use the angle. So here we're going to have the cosine of angle B. That equals the other two sides. So a squared plus c squared minus b squared. The angle that you're finding, you only use that side once. So here I have a squared plus c squared minus b squared over 2ac. So here I'm going to have the cosine of angle B, that's what I'm trying to solve for. That equals a squared, well side A is opposite angle A, so that's 16, plus c squared, so angle C, we go directly opposite, that's 15 squared, minus b squared, angle B is up top, so B is along the bottom, 22 squared, all over 2 times A times C, 2 times 16 times 15. Here, since we're finding an angle, we're going to be pressing the second button, and then cosine, and then we're going to have to DMS our answer. So you're going to type in second and then cosine, and then this entire right-hand side. Second cosine, type in exactly what you see on that right-hand side, and then we're going to have to DMS our answer. And here when we look at our seconds, which are 29, that's less than 30, so it's going to stay the same. So here the answer for angle B, 90 degrees and 21 minutes. You see how when I type this in, I did a squared plus c squared. I did 16 squared plus 15 squared. As long as this angle matches this side, these two can be interchanged. So I could have written this as c squared plus a squared over 2ca. That doesn't matter. What does matter is that the angle that you're using, you only use the opposite side once. And now number 4, here they're giving you all 3 sides of the triangle. Here they're asking you to find angle C. So here we have 3 sides and we're trying to find one angle. So 3 sides and one angle tells you we're using the law of cosines. And here we're trying to find angle C. So I'm going to write the law of cosines where I'm using an angle. So I'm going to write the cosine of big C. That equals a squared plus b squared minus c squared. Remember, this angle matches the side, and that side is only used once, all over 2 times a times b. So here we're going to have the cosine of angle C. So I'm trying to find angle C, so that's going to stay as the cosine of C. That equals a squared, so side A is going to be 10, so I have 10 squared, plus b squared, so angle B is up top, so b squared, it's going to be 12 squared, minus c squared. Well, here I'm trying to find angle C, so side C is going to be the 8. All over 2 times 10 times 12. I'm trying to find angle C, so I'm only using side C once. So here I'm finding an angle, so I'm going to remember to press the second button, and then I'm going to DMS the final answer. So here I'm going to have, when I look at my seconds, that's 34, so that's going to round the 24 up by 1 to 25. So here I'm going to have 41 degrees and 25 minutes.